Mike Bond here with a man of many hats, Mr. Paul Felder, UFC lightweight contender, UFC commentator, ESPN analyst. Paul, are you still a UFC lightweight contender? You said the other night I'd come back out of retirement to fight either Poirier or Hooker. I feel like that's the first time you've actually said definitively you were in retirement.
Yeah, to be completely honest, man, I've just been going through a lot. I'm busy. I'm buying a house. I got a dog. I'm enjoying my time with my daughter, and I'm just in no rush to come back for something that will not excite me. I need the next fight to be something that scares me and gets me training and gets me motivated, and it gives me a reason to leave for 8, 9, 10 weeks at a time and put my body through what it goes through. Because look at those guys last night or on Saturday night, Hooker and Poirier. Those guys are going to be hurting for a while. This is a savage sport. So if your head's not quite in it, I'm not going to rush back to get in the cage unless it's something super exciting.
Fair play. I guess let's just circle back to that fight a little bit. I mean, I think we were all losing our minds. Is that how you saw it going? I mean, obviously you were the one in there with Dan last.
I did. I was asked about it. I think I did a couple interviews about it. And I said that I did think it was going to be, I think I said it was going to be a decision. I just know, I mean, I've been in there with Dan, and he is, man, that dude can take a hit, and he does not stop. He was dead at the end of that fight. I mean, he had no energy left whatsoever. He could barely get off the canvas, but he was still throwing shots and fighting and looking to find a way to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you thought it was scored right? I mean, I thought it was pretty clear 1-2 for Dan and then 3-4-5 for Dustin.
Yeah, it definitely came down to the end again. And I figured that. I figured if Dustin doesn't knock him out, it's going to become a war, of who can hang in there. And Dustin showed why he is where he is in the rankings and is a former champion, because he found a way to find his range and hurt him more. And he showed why he belongs where he's at. He's definitely top of this division for sure.
So you watched that. I mean, you said I'd fight either of these guys. Is that the type of fight? I mean, obviously, I'm sure you'd love to get some redemption against Dan, and then Dustin is who he is, being at the top of the division. Do you think either of those could happen? And if so, are those the fights that bring you back?
Yeah, that is what would bring me back. A rematch with Dan, and now it would just be let's run it back. Listen, I've never really sat and whined or complained about the decision, but it was close enough where you could warrant a rematch between us. And things like that excite me. Same as the Edson rematch in my career. When these guys beat you and you get the chance to go in there and take one back, I mean, that's exciting stuff. I think that's possibly a main event in the future. Obviously, he's got to go heal up. I still have a lot on my plate with commentary, and I'm focusing on that. That's something I want to really dive into, because when this is all said and done, that's one of the major things I'm going to be doing. But yeah, that Tony Ferguson, Dustin, chances of Connor are probably 0, right? So I won't even mention that, because that's just not going to happen. And so yeah, those are the fights that I want.
What about Ally Quinta? He claims on Twitter he was offered a fight with you August 15th. Is that true?
That is true. And I said no. I said I want to do Fight Island. I want to start a training camp. I want to fight later in the fall. And if that's one of the fights on the table, then possibly, yeah. But it had nothing to do with Al. I also agreed to fight Al in June, and he hurt his knee again. So that was probably the 3rd or 4th time that we have now been supposedly matched up, and something happened on his end. So I know he's healthy now, and he can be upset all he wants. I don't really care. He's selling real estate. I do commentary, Al. So I'm doing my second job.
Yeah, I know you said off the top you're buying a house. I'm guessing Ally Quinta probably isn't your broker.
No, no, not in the same area. So we're not going to be working together for this one, unfortunately.
That's funny. So, I mean, we saw Dan Hooker. I guess he fell victim to this Paul Felder curse.
I know, it's so crazy, bro. I mean, you can't make this shit up sometimes. It's just, I saw the guy. I can't think of his Twitter handle now, but a random guy that he's not a huge profile, but he posted this stat, and then I retweeted it. Ariel Hawani got a hold of it. Then they're asking him about it. Then ESPN's posting about it. I was like, oh my God, I never expected this thing to, it's just all coincidental. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with me, at least as far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, is it weird to be like linked to something strange like that? I mean, I thought that was kind of bizarre that it kept getting brought up. I mean, it's like something to me that's just like a footnote, but I thought it was kind of interesting how some people were making it into like an actual storyline.
Yeah, it was just a completely random thing. Yeah, and it got a little blown out of proportion, and hopefully it doesn't backfire on me. And guys are gonna be like, "No, I'm not. I'm not risking it. I'm not beating you, and then losing my next fight could be, a big fight for them." So
Well, I saw some people saying you should fight Habib next, just so we can see what happens in the fight after with
yeah,
him.
I know. People were saying that Habib would have been knocked out by Connor because he fought Al instead of me. So if it would have been me that he fought and he beat me, assuming he beat me, which it is a good possibility. He's a tough son of a bitch. And yeah, then he would have lost his next fight.
That's so funny. So, I mean, how much are you even training right now? I mean, I know you got the commentary stuff sounds like some personal life stuff, but yeah, how often are you kind of getting the work in right now?
This morning, and I'm going to do a bike ride in a little bit after we're done talking. So still training probably twice a day, staying in really good shape. Just there's opportunities with the commentary that's coming up and some extra things on the side of it that are opportunities that can really further my career after fighting that I could not turn down. It's exciting. This Fight Island thing and this opportunity is very unique experience that I didn't want to miss out on to fight in August. I'm not there, and people can criticize me all they want. The people that don't know what we go through will never understand needing to take a break.
Absolutely. So you go to Fight Island when, or head to Abu Dhabi when?
July 5th, I got to go out there and do like some testing and then fly from there to Abu Dhabi, and then I'm there. I'm calling every fight, so
Wow.
working the desk for every fight and calling every fight. So I'm out there all 3 weeks. So I've got a lot of work to do as well. There's quite a bit of research when you call 4 fight cards and also have to talk pre and post fight shows as well.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was actually gonna ask. So, like, what do you do? I mean, how's your prep for that differentiate from if you're just doing one card? Because it's like what it's Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Saturday. So I'm sure that 1 week with the three is gonna be crazy.
Actually, plenty of time, right? I have a good amount of time, but the first 3, I kind of got to be ready to I got to be ahead of it. So I've got to start prepping the first couple now, and then once the first one's done, I'll freshen up on the second show and be starting research for the third show. But I'd like to get a little idea of everybody, especially the prelim guys that might slip under the radar occasionally. I want to make sure that I'm really on point and giving those guys their credit and really, showcasing them as well as the main card.
Yeah, is there anything I mean, obviously those 3 title fights are pretty great. We got a 4th one too with Benavidez and Figueiredo, but anything that's like got you pretty hyped already, thinking about it a little far out?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the pay-per-view is insane with the 3 title fights. Darren Till and Whitaker is going to be bananas. Jose Aldo, I get to call his fight. Piotr Jan is facing him. I mean, the list goes on. My boy Jared Gordon is fighting on, I think, the 15th card against Chris Fishgold. So I get to be there for him. He was in Abu Dhabi when I fought Edson, so it's going to be fun. I get to support him and also get to call his fight. Hopefully, call his fight. I might be able to step away from the desk for a second and not have to call his fight.
Yeah, you did that last time, right?
Yeah, his last, not in Brazil. I wasn't there for that one, but the fight before that, I think it was in Minnesota. I didn't call that one. They let me step away. So we'll see, though. Other guys have had to call teammates fights, so I might not get that luxury.
Yeah, I mean, we know anyone who follows you and Jared. We know you're more than teammates. You're very good friends too, as well. So, what was the discussion like last time with Zach Candido or whoever you had to run that past to be like, hey, I need to do this, and what was maybe the potential pushback they gave you?
Well, I think they were scared that I was going to react the way I did when he fought the Brazilian kid.
Oliveira?
No, not Oliveira. The one in Milwaukee that he was winning, doing and fight of the night, and then he got caught in that hamstring stretch, and then got caught against the fence. So I didn't say a word during that whole thing, and just had my head down towards the end of the fight. So I think they figured, all right, this is the next fight after that, so let's give you a break. But now, he's in a pretty good spot on the card too. I think he's opening the main card, so I may not have a choice.
Yeah, I think that was the Joaquim Silva fight, right?
Yes, Silva. That's what it was. Yeah.
Definitely. Awesome. So, I mean, is it going to be weird just kind of being over there and like largely isolation? I mean, what are your kind of expectations for that month? I mean, it seems like it's going to be pretty locked down with the bubble.
Man, that's the only part where I'm a little worried about is my boredom level. That's I know I've got a lot of work, but how much fight research can you do before you want to just, all right, I want to go get a coffee, I want to go take a walk, I want to do something, and you're stuck in your room in a very foreign country. So I don't know, it'll be a time to do a lot of push-ups and watch a lot of fights, I guess.
For sure. I mean, you're going to be calling the fights. I think the main card starts for 251 at 2 a.m. local time. I mean, I've done some of that before. I remember when I did Bisping's fight in Manchester, and I think the main card was at like 3 a.m. when he rematched Henderson. So, like, I guess do you just stay on your normal sleep schedule for stateside? Or?
Yeah, I've got to talk to the rest of the guys and be like, so what's the plan? Like, what do we? I think it's going to come down to one of those things where you just sleep when you can sleep. Like if you're in bed and you have time, you take that time to sleep, because I think we're all just going to be pretty much running on fumes and sleep deprived.
Yeah, and I mean, you obviously have a little bit of experience too being over there as well, so it's not like it was as the fighter, but not as the commentator.
It killed me that Abu Dhabi was the worst jet lag that I've ever experienced in my career. It was just enough time to really throw me out of whack. I didn't go early enough. That's why when I fought in New Zealand, I went way early. I think it was 10 or 12 days early. Got adapted to it. And that one's even easier because it's pretty much just a day ahead. So it's by the time you land, you slept on the plane and it's in the morning. So you don't feel great, but it's easier to adjust to than 9 hours or 8 hours.
Yeah, and I was actually talking to Dustin last week before the fight, and I was asking, what would your advice be to the people going over there? And he's like, I would have gone earlier. I went 8 days. I would have gone 2 weeks, but that's not an option for everyone. They're going like 4 days, 5 days before. How do you think that's going to impact them?
Fighting is different time. So for them, yeah, I think the best thing to do is go over there and just sleep and train when you can. If you're feeling tired, just freaking sleep. If you're up, stay up, work out. I wouldn't worry too much about like I have to sleep at this time or that time, because there's just not enough time for them to adjust anyway.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, before I let you go, like, let's just kind of circle back to the beginning. So, I mean, we know who the top lightweights are out there, and you're just, gonna get through this Fight Island thing and see if, Sean Shelby gives you a call with something interested, but you're definitely not, retired at the moment. We could say that.
Yeah, no, I'm sitting on, I'm benching myself for a second. I think that's the way I would really consider it. I just, yeah, I just needed a little break, man. That fight in New Zealand was a tough one. I pour my soul into these fight camps, man. Like I really don't. I don't hold back. It's not like I casually just take a fight because I'm like, oh yeah, I think I can beat that guy. How many weeks do we have? Like I really try to make sure that I check all the boxes, and I did that for that one, and it was so close. And then you get, your heart gets broken with a decision. It's not like I'm not crying about it. I needed time. That was a lot. I was gone for a long time. I had Ian Larios, my chef, living with me. I was living in Milwaukee, so I just want to be home for a little bit.
Yeah. Were you thinking at all when you were watching that fight with Dan and Dustin that should have been you in there with Dustin?
Yeah, of course. It was tough to see all that, to know that everything in the prep is talking about who's potentially going to be the guy to move into title contention, who's going to be the big dog. You got, Gaethje out there tweeting at them. You've got the champ tweeting at them. And it's like, God damn, man, that's how close I could have been had I got that decision. And to not have it is, a setback. And I got to get my head right before I get in there. I got to want to be in there. I got to want to still fight for that belt. So those are the fight demons that I got to work through at the moment.
Do you think Fight Island might kind of help that out, just being so submerged and, being around the fighters, calling the fighters, like it's going to be your entire life there for 3 weeks or whatever?
Yeah, I think it's for sure going to be nice and motivating. Seeing the guys around working out, cutting weight. I'm going to try to work out and stay training there myself. So I might get some new experiences with some different people too. Once we're all tested negative, because once we're all negative, I mean, we're in a bubble together. Like, it's not even like when we were in Florida or even Vegas. You don't have chances to go out and recatch it until we're leaving. So once we're in there, yeah, I plan on getting some work in and just really trying to enjoy my job.
Yeah, man. Well, that's great to hear. I'm glad that you're getting that assignment. It should be some fun fights and some fun calls from you. It's you, Bisbing, Anik, I believe.
Yeah, I know Annex there, Bisbing, and then I don't know if it's in that. I'm pretty sure John Gooden and Dan Hardy will be a couple of the shows as well. Thank God, I can't wait to work with those guys again too. It's been a while since I saw those guys. It's been since I might have seen them I might have saw Dan in Vegas for the pay-per-view right after my fight, but I haven't seen John since New Zealand when I fought.
Yeah, it's a bummer for those guys, obviously, with the circumstances. They can't be calling cards right now, so.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to work with them.
For sure. Awesome, Paul. Well, I've taken enough of your time today. I appreciate you doing this. I know you're not doing too many interviews these days, so it means a lot. You take a few minutes, man.
Now with this guy right here, that's all I'm doing right now.
What's his name?
Rodney.
How old is he?
He's like 2. He said he was like 1.5 when we rescued him, but you don't act like a 1.5-year-old. He acts like a 10-year-old. Sleeps all day.
Yeah, you can relate to him then.
Yeah.
All right, Paul, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
I'll be seeing you soon, man. We'll get through this stuff. So
For sure, man. I missed you in our previews in person.
all right, man. Yeah, I do too.
All right, brother. Talk soon. Have a good day.